That's why I go to y'all streetcar events and stuff. This doesn't fit the diesel racing thing.
So I just came from Frankenstein Engine Dynamics right down the street, dropping my head off. Now we're at Chris Pattersons' shop, Unrivaled Diesel, to make a backstory video on his 2,000 horsepower, 9-second, full interior, 4-wheel drive Cummins dually. It's a dually that runs 9s.
1,700 horsepower out of the Dodge pickup truck. He goes 90 points champion for streetcar takeovers for August 2nd.
Oh, he does the shit that Stingray. Guy's crazy. I love it. That's why we're bros. Cause he's like the only guy who's more insane than I am. The only guy I know who's blown up more transmissions than me and racing something heavier. So that's why we're friends. So what do you got going on here right now?
Man, it's the winter time, so we're gonna rebuild all the stuff on the dually. I've never put it down for a whole winter. It's always been kind of just fix the motor, put it in, get it going again, go to the next event. So this time she's down for a while. The list to do is very long. Spun on here, it's kind of nasty, but you know, it is what it is.
Is this the one that made 2,000 wheel on our dyno?
Yeah, this is the one.
So this will be a little bit of learning for me. This truck, how did it start? What state was it in when you bought it? Why'd you buy it? How did it get to this record chasing point?
So I needed a really good daily driver. Yeah.
Famous last words.
Yep. So it was a $10,000 wholesale truck at the dealership I worked at. Needed a front end, water pump, U-joints, driver's seat, transmission, power steering pump, air conditioner, radiator. Like, it needed this long list of repairs, so they had it for cheap. So I bought it, and then I had a race 2002 VP44 truck that was like a drag truck. I took the transmission out of it, made some changes, stuck it in here, and I was like, oh man, a whole lot better. It shifts great. I was like, well, let's take the lift pump off the race truck. Took the lift pump, then we took the compounds, then we took the nitrous, and then it all went downhill from there.
So you parted out a race truck onto your daily. Is that actually what happened? Like, why? So you put the transmission in, you're like, oh, this is fun. Then were you sitting there like, oh, I wonder what this compound kit would do on there? And like, were you just goofing around, or like, why did you start doing that?
The power that the technology and Common Rail had over the older VP injection was amazing. Literally, my VP truck had a whole lot of stuff and it made 400 horsepower. We put on the Banks programmer the second day we had the truck and broke the transmission and made more power. The second day I had the truck. So I was like, well, this is great. Now we need that trans. So we took the trans out, and then just it all went downhill after that.
What year did you buy this truck? Your own personal timeline. 2015, you were working at a dealership. Mm-hmm. Now it's 2020. You got your own diesel shop. Mm-hmm. This truck was like the steed that drove all that.
Yeah. It was weird because I would build a pair of compounds for it just in my driveway in my 2-car garage, and then we would go to the track and beat some cars or trucks, and people would be like, oh, hey, that's cool. Who did those turbos, or who did that transmission? Well, I did. Oh, okay. Well, can you do mine? I was like, yeah, you can bring it to my house.
Yeah. So
we did for like a couple of years, and it was crazy. I would go to work and do my normal technician diesel guy stuff, come home, eat, go in the driveway till midnight, and then wake up at 5 and go back to the dealer and come home and go back in the driveway till midnight for a couple of years.
At what point you're working at a dealership, you're slinging wrenches until midnight doing your side thing. When did you say, I want to do this full time, let's go?
So I owe it all to my wife. She has her own hair and makeup salon. We built that and got that going good, and she was making more money every year, and it was growing exponentially. And I said, as soon as you make more than I do, I'm going to quit, and we're going to save up, and we're going to go do our own thing. And that's exactly what happened. She made good money. I was able to quit, and that was the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life, period.
Like leaving the security blanket of the dealership?
Yep, because that was a sweet, big, fat paycheck all the time. and it was really good money, enough money you could be foolish, and I was.
My question with this is okay, so you're making good money at the dealership. You could, you know, goof around with whatever you wanted. Did you feel an obligation to serve other people with the things you could do for their trucks? Like, do you take passion in building them for other people? Like, if you had this financial freedom and the ability to do your own stuff, what drove the urge to do your own thing in that capacity?
So two answers to that. Number one, people get screwed every freaking day. There are shops that rip people's heads off time and time again. And I was tired of it. I was tired of having a broken customer that you had to go back in and fix it behind another person. And I knew that there was better. So I opened a shop to provide that, to show that. And then there's a huge passion aspect of this sport that a lot of people don't understand, is it's so driven by the passion to compete and build and race and be different. So both, really, the ability to help people and then the passion of growing my own project and furthering technology.
Are you happier now doing this than you were at your best?
Oh, absolutely.
Point?
Yes, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. I love what I do.
Do you work harder now than you were when you were doing like dealership shift and midnight?
Yep.
So you're just here until midnight every day then?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Do you sell parts online or any of that stuff too?
Oh, yeah.
What's your website?
UnrivaledDiesel.com, or Facebook, Chris Patterson, or Instagram, Chris_PAT05.
So you got all those trucks outside were in here because you're cleaning it right now.
Yeah, today's clean day.
Yeah.
Well, and you're coming by, so it's like, oh, we got to spruce it up.
Yeah, we were going to do this on Friday when I went to Frankenstein the first time, but he's like, no, I got to clean the shop. So, yeah, who cares? Just didn't want anybody to think like, oh, there's nothing in here. Well, there's nothing in here on purpose.
On purpose. I set aside time for you.
Yeah. So you're going for the dually record.
Yeah, we're going for the world's fastest dually record. Now, there's two ways you can look at this. Everyone believes the world's fastest dually is Randy Reyes at 941, but he had 4 radials just like what this is. So I don't know if you really count that as a dually or not. If you do, then it's 941. If you don't, then it's 966, which is Stephen King out of New York, but it's Duramax and he had 6 radials. So either way, we're going to do both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Not both of them. Both of them.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to go both of them. We're going to go for the 941, whatever trim that takes, and then I believe we already have the 966, but we haven't seen it on paper.
We got to put some big old fatties on this thing.
We are. I've got a lot of stuff in the works to have 6 of those, so I'm really, really, really excited. It's freaking expensive.
You're going to run 6 DR2s?
We're going to try.
So like another one of these here.
Yep. Obviously, I got a 4-link in the showroom, so we're going to take all the leaf springs off. We're going to drop it in the weeds. We're going to scooch that rim in. I've got some hubs that I'm working with that are going to scooch the inside rim about 4 or 5 inches in, and then the outside rim will come a couple inches out. As long as it doesn't poke out, like, you know, we'll be okay.
Yeah.
If it comes out 4 or 5 inches, we ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, that's fine. You can have a little poke. A little poke will look cool, but you don't want like row stance.
No, we don't have mullets.
Well,
you know?
I do, but
I mean, yeah, but you're not in the diesel game. See, if you're in the diesel game, you have a mullet. It's a whole different category.
Okay, well, I guess I'm not allowed to be in the diesel
We
game.
would have to fold out the mirrors. We have to put a sideways Cummins sticker on it. It would be bad. Big old tip under the bed. It would be bad.
I can't do it.
No,
Can't do it.
Can't. Most of the carnage is still kind of back here. The turbos are kind of seized up. It kind of ran out of oil pressure on me, but we sent it. But you know, it lived somewhat. It drove on the trailer and drove in here.
Send it for the people.
We did. Yeah, there's the shelled out fascia. It's great. I don't know how much the bumper weighed. We didn't take the time to weigh it.
Doesn't.
It's lighter than, you know, that's lighter than the bumper for sure.
Yeah.
Just a fascia.
So it did have like the whole like crash bar behind it and everything.
Had the whole tow hooks, everything, whole 9 yards. Fog lights.
Huh. I still got all that stuff. I thought about taking it out, but kind of also don't, because if I like hit a deer or something, then
But you're going for 8s, right?
Yeah, I might have to. Well, the reason I left it in there is I wanted to go as fast as I could go without taking that advantage. Like,
Yeah.
because once I max out on power or whatever, then you can always cut weight.
Right.
But if you do all that first, then you'll never know what it did before,
Right.
and you don't have that extra step to take whenever you need that little push.
Well, to be honest with you, the real reason I did it is it's so much easier to work on, because you can walk up and be right on the intercooler or whatever you need. So to torque the head or change turbos or change a motor, it takes out a whole nother step to me.
So did you bend all this up yourself, or was this
No.
a kit?
It's a kit from Fire Punk, and then we just put it in, polished it up and put it in. But dude,
Yeah.
drive you freaking crazy.
Dude, mine use the same clips. I think you looked at them. They don't.
We talked about
Yeah,
this.
it doesn't quite rattle that much. I don't know. Maybe
We're gonna do something.
you might be able to squish this a little bit, like with a vise
Yeah.
or something.
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna do something, because I mean, it's still a street truck and we're gonna drive it around and you have to be able to talk over it. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
It's really loud. But it turned out very good. This is the second cage I've ever put in, so it's not like the prettiest of things. There's a lot of people that can do a whole lot better than I did, but I did it here.
It's here and it's done. It looks good.
So that's the Docal tubing, and I don't really care for the way it's rusting. We've polished the whole thing with, like, you've seen the Instagram ad for the grinder that has like the idler arm on it and the big long belt.
Yeah.
It's freaking cool. I
Yeah.
got one. Oh yeah. So we polished the whole thing. Now I got to go back in and kind of touch it up and clear coat it.
From 2015 when you got this truck to now, like, how has that changed you as a person? Like, how have you evolved through this process?
It's made me understand both sides of being a service provider and someone that gets a service done. If I go to another shop or another company and order a part or a motor or like whatever we're buying, that's a customer side. So I've experienced good and bad of being a customer. I've experienced good and bad as being a service provider. And both those lessons are hard to learn because it comes at a cost and an expense.
What's your goal, I guess, if you want to talk about, like, 2 years, 5 years from now? What's your timeline like in your head of what you want to be doing with this place?
My goal is to be like recognized or as large as, say, Fire Punk Diesel or Power Driven Diesel or Armor Inc. or any of the bigger diesel shops. I want to be that size. I want to be nationally known. I want to be able to travel. Like, what if we chased NHRDA Supercom or NHRA Supercom in a diesel vehicle? Or what if we did radial 275 classes in a diesel vehicle? How cool would that be? Right?
That'd be pretty cool. So you want to
Technology's there.
be a driving force to bring diesel into the mainstream race
Gas.
world?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's why I go to y'all street car events and stuff. This doesn't fit the diesel racing thing. Right now, diesel racing is like, ODSS is the big event provider, or the event people, and they do 590, 670, 770 index, and then sportsman, and then there's a couple unlimited classes. Well, to be in an unlimited class, you would have to have a vehicle that weighed, 3,000 pounds and make 22 or 2,400 horsepower and be able to run low fours. Like 14s. So that's completely beyond my ability to get right now. But if you went to a more restricted class like 275, where you had to, let's just say, an 88 millimeter inducer, and you had to weigh 3,600 pounds, sweet, right? We can make something like that. We could take a Mustang or a Nova or whatever and make something like that.
Have you ever built a diesel swap into a car before? For
I've
anybody?
not done a car. We've done a couple trucks.
Like, I know you got the half ton out there that has the, like, your parts truck.
Yep.
We should go check that out. You had that thing on the dyno. You spraying the house down with it too.
Yeah, we can go check her out.
Yeah, let's go look at it. So
this one's one of ours. It's a buddy of mine, Jeffrey. It's a 700 horsepower VP44 compound turbo. It's a really cool truck. Again, a lot of people say that a VP won't make that much power, but we've been really messing with it a lot.
I just gotta point these out. Look at these tires. BFG white letter all terrains. This man knows the deal. That's the best tire ever.
Yeah, there's probably 10 more in the shop. Yeah,
dude, that's
absolutely.
that's awesome.
It is. It's a great tire.
They're my favorite tires ever. I actually work with BFG now, so I'm not obligated to say that. I've been plugging these tires well before that.
Probably one of the best tires ever made for a truck.
It has to be. They last a long time. They get good traction and everything, and they look freaking awesome.
Like general all around.
Yeah.
Right. It's a great tire. It's quiet. My next project, it's a half ton regular cab, short bed, 99, 4-wheel drive, so it's got a Dana 44 front axle, solid front axle. We're gonna take all the leftover crap laying around the shop and shove in it. So maybe the backup motor, the one that we just pulled out of the dually, I think we're gonna stick it in here.
That'll be cool.
And then I got another trans for the dually. We'll stick it in here, so it'll be like the spare. So hey, how about this idea? You go to an event, you just take both trucks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a great idea, right?
Yeah, then if you mess up the important one, you can just
take this one.
Yeah.
Or take the trans out of it and put it in the fast truck.
I thought pulling out all your random parts is what this truck was.
That kind of too. A little bit.
You just
This is my brother Joey's truck.
Oh, that's your brother?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was your brother.
Yeah, he does all of our CNC and our machining for us on all the special parts we build. It's the same thing, 99 regular cab, half-ton, 2-wheel drive. This is the first truck we ever put a cage in, so it was a whole learning curve. So we haven't weighed it since we gutted it and put the cage in it, but it was, don't quote me, he might have to chime in the comments. I want to say it was like 4,600 pounds.
That's not bad at all.
No, it's not bad, but it's not light, but it's not heavy.
It's like Hellcat weight.
Yeah, he went crazy on the inside with the plasma cutter.
Yeah.
Like, he went crazy.
I remember seeing this at dyno day thinking like, dang, how does this even stay
Look
on
at
there?
the other door. The other door you have to like close from the inside of the cab. It's sketch. It shakes going down the track.
That's funny.
For sure.
Well, at least you're not driving it.
No, this is his thing. It is a lot of leftover parts. It's like, hey, I got this engine, I got this trans, I got a lift pump, I got a turbo, a radiator, a starter, an alternator, an ECM. I got all this crap in my 2-car garage from back in the day we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told him, I was like, hey, why don't you just go buy a shit truck? Like, go find a piece of junk truck and we'll just throw all this in there and then you can go race too. There's a hole down here where the axle went through when he broke an axle doing a rolling burnout. It came out and then went back in the wheel well and poked a hole in it.
Oh, you can see it. There's the dent and it lines up right with that hole. Yep. It sounds like you guys need to be doing YouTube videos out of this place.
Man, we really do. I would love to do YouTube. So it's a P-pump 24 valve, flux diesel injection, 7x11s, single 472, a couple kits of nitrous. Basically a stock engine. Like, we hogged out the cylinder head a little bit, and then up until a couple months ago it had stock push rods in it.
Wow.
Until we finally bent one.
People keep telling me that just put a 12 valve in my 93 Suburban, and I'm like, no, that one's getting a big block or something like nasty big block. Future project, get one that looks just like it, put a Cummins in that one, and pull the big block one around with it on an open trailer.
Cool. Yeah.
So
I would love to help you with that. Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So if you know anybody who's got, you know, a 12 valve laying around or something, keep me in mind, because I'll always buy something and then sit on it until I'm ready for it. So
me too.
What do you have in that freezer there?
Oh, you know, just you know, food and ice and nitrous, you know, in case you gotta fill her up.
So your freezer is the fill station.
Yeah, so you can freeze the bottle and then just turn the mother bottle on, open the small bottle. The delta temperature difference will completely fill it all the way. So if it's a 15-pound bottle, you normally get about 17 in, just like that.
How did you come up with that idea? Did you just like do it?
Yeah, no one else has done it, so I was like, hey, it's common sense, right? It's physics.
You would think, yeah, it's so easy. Like the bottle fits in there, so nicely, and there's still all kinds of room for your other stuff.
Yeah.
You bolt it right to the side.
Then you can pump it to enough where it pops if you don't, you know, keep it cool with the track. We can get about 5 more pounds in a normal like 10-pound bottle. You can get about 15. 15-pound bottle, you get about 22, 27 sometimes. If
you're local to Weatherford, Texas, and you're like editing videos or doing diesel stuff, hit this guy up. He could use your help. You can do some cool stuff, learn some things, see some stuff.
Yeah, on Instagram's Chris_PAT05. Facebook, Chris Patterson, shops Unrivaled Diesel in Weatherford.
We were just talking about Robert Young from Force Performance's Owner Rotor, and what did you just tell me?
Well, since you released your video with him and he was just unloading info like crazy, I typed in his name on YouTube and he's got hours and hours of free information about turbos. Like, I sit there at lunch, I do my invoices, do my emails, and listen to him lecture about chargers. It's unreal how much information he knows. The journal versus the ball bearing, I never would have guessed. It was pretty cool. I just wish he had bigger things like past the 72 or 76 millimeter range that he makes. If he made 80s and 90s and 100s, it would be sweet.
Well, you hear that, Robert? Gotta get on that diesel
Yeah,
life.
you need to get in the diesel game.
The common denominator here, and something that I push all the time, is that if you follow your passion with a specific intent, you can make it something that produces, that it doesn't have to be like your little side thing that people are like, why you spend so much money on that? Like, I'm sure you got a lot of that too when you were doing this.
I could have paid my house off a long time ago. It's unreal. But when you beat a Viper or, you know, a Stingray or whatever, you know, a GTR, the look on their face is dumbfounded when they see what beat them. And that's what you live for.
It is. It's the coolest thing ever. And I don't know why, at least for me, like, it's not about going fast. It's about not supposed to being able to go fast.
Not supposed to go fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know why.
Points champion for streetcar takeovers from August 2nd.